There are moments in life when the universe throws two completely different worlds together, and the collision creates something unforgettable. This story is one of those moments. It was just another stormy evening in the small suburban neighborhood. Raindrops hammered relentlessly against the windows of a modest house that stood in stark contrast to the mansion-lined streets just miles away. Inside, a single father named Thomas was finishing up a modest dinner. His world revolved around his daughter, Lily, a bright, compassionate 10-year-old, who was the center of his universe. Every decision he made, every sacrifice he endured, was for her future. Despite working tirelessly at a low-paying job, his life was rich in love, even if his bank account was not. Tonight was different, though. Tonight, a storm was about to sweep through not just the skies, but also their lives in a way they never saw coming. Before I tell you what happened next, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Your support means everything. As the storm intensified outside, a knock echoed through the quiet house. It was strange, no one ever came to visit this far into the night, especially in weather like this. Thomas stood up from the dinner table, his daughter peeking around the corner. He opened the door to find a young woman, soaked to the bone, standing in front of him. She was holding a suitcase, her eyes filled with desperation. Her clothes, once elegant, were now drenched, clinging to her slender frame. She looked like she had been through hell and back. I need help, she said, her voice trembling from the cold and the rain. Thomas was a man of few words, but he could see the fear in her eyes. He motioned for her to come inside. As she stepped over the threshold, the warmth from the house enveloped her, but it was clear that something was deeply wrong. "Thank you," she whispered, her teeth chattering. "I didn't know where else to go." Her name was Emily. She was the daughter of a wealthy businessman, someone whose name was whispered in boardrooms and luxury hotels. But today, Emily was running away, not from a life of riches, but from a life of suffocation. She had been trapped in a world of expectations, arranged marriages, and a future already written for her. She had wanted to live her own life, her own way. But when she confronted her father with the truth of her desires, he had turned his back on her, and she had left everything behind, including the comforts and privileges she once took for granted. In this storm, she found herself with nowhere to turn, except to the last person she would have ever imagined, a poor, single father living in a small house far from the world she knew. For the next few hours, Emily shared her story with Thomas, sitting across from him at the small dining table. She explained her life in the lap of luxury, the pressure to be perfect, and the loneliness that came with it. Thomas, who had worked his whole life just to survive, found himself listening intently, his heart softening with empathy. He realized that, despite the differences in their worlds, they shared one undeniable thing, the need for freedom. She longed for it, and he had always craved it but never had the opportunity. Lily, who had been quietly listening from the doorway, came into the room with her stuffed rabbit in hand. "Are you staying with us?" she asked Emily innocently, her eyes wide with curiosity. Emily smiled softly, "For tonight, yes. I just need some time to figure things out." Lily nodded and, in a gesture of unexpected kindness, handed Emily her stuffed rabbit. "You can borrow this," she said, her tiny voice full of warmth. Emily's heart swelled. She hadn't expected such genuine kindness from a child who had so little in material wealth but so much in compassion. The night passed, and the storm outside showed no signs of letting up. Inside, the small house felt like a sanctuary, calm, filled with the quiet warmth of a father and his daughter. Emily was given a change of clothes, and Thomas made her tea, a small comfort that felt almost foreign to her. As the hours wore on, Emily realized that she hadn't felt this peaceful in years. She had given up luxury for a taste of freedom, and now she was starting to see how much more there was to life than wealth. But the challenges were just beginning. Emily knew she couldn't stay forever. Her father, despite his coldness, would eventually come looking for her. And then, there was the reality that she couldn't live off charity forever. The world outside still viewed her as the pampered daughter of a millionaire, and she would need to carve out her own identity, far away from her past. The next morning, Emily woke up to the smell of pancakes. Lily was already in the kitchen, trying to make breakfast by herself. Thomas was standing over the stove, a rare smile on his face as he flipped pancakes with ease. "Morning," Emily said, still a bit groggy but grateful for the simplicity of it all. "Morning. Want some pancakes?" Lily asked with excitement. Emily sat at the table, the weight of the world still on her shoulders, but for the first time in a long time, she felt a glimmer of hope. Emily spent the next few days with Thomas and Lily, helping out with small chores around the house. She got to know them both better and saw a life she had never imagined, one that wasn't defined by status, wealth, or expectations. It was a life of hard work, laughter, and most importantly, love. As Emily began to feel more at home, she realized that the things she had once thought she couldn't live without, money, status, luxury, were not what made her happy. What made her happy was the simplicity and authenticity of life that Thomas and Lily shared. But her past wasn't done chasing her. Emily's father sent his lawyers to find her, offering her an ultimatum: return home or face disinheritance. Emily was torn. Returning meant losing the freedom she had found with Thomas and Lily, but rejecting it meant severing ties with her family forever. Emily packed her bags, but before leaving, she made a promise to herself: she would find a way to live on her own terms. And so, she walked away from her past, leaving behind the mansion, the name, and the expectations. She left the man who had never seen her as anything other than a possession. As she walked out the door of the small house, Thomas stood on the porch with Lily by his side. He didn't say anything, but there was a quiet understanding between them. Emily turned to him and smiled. "Thank you," she said softly, "for showing me what it means to live." And just like that, she was gone. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness for more stories that remind us of the power of compassion, choice, and the courage to live authentically. In the end, Emily didn't just leave with the hope of a new life. She left with something far more valuable, a deep, unwavering belief that the life she wanted was hers to create, no matter where she came from or what anyone else thought. And in a small, humble home, she had found the courage to walk away from everything that held her back and step into the unknown. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave a comment below and let us know what you think of Emily's journey. And if you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness for more stories like this one.